So you appears cool about fighting. Cool about fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Take your seats. The show's about to begin. Welcome to In Groove, a music podcast that focuses on discussions of what else but music. Everything from the bestsellers to the unknowns and everything in between. On this episode, we're joined by our always lovely and always present co-hosts, Dan Griffin.
Hi, how's it going?
And Ben King.
Yep.
And I am your host, Jarrod White. On this episode, we're trying out a new format. We're doing album recommendations. We're going to be discussing albums by Adam and the Ants, Joanna Newsom, Run the Jewels, The Replacements, Schnickens and Savoy Brown. The way that this show works is each of us picks an album for each co-host to listen to. So I recommended an album to Dan and Ben. Ben recommended an album to Dan and I. And Dan recommended an album to Ben and I. So now that no one's confused, basically everyone picked an album for someone else to listen to. So we'll have some interesting opinions going on.
Oh, yeah.
And
if we could start a debate or two.
Yeah, this
I'm okay.
So the first album we're going to be discussing is one that Dan was recommended.
Yep.
From Ben.
From Ben. Yep.
So Ben recommended Dan. What did he recommend to you, Dan? Let's take it off.
Okay, so Benjamin Kingsley III recommended me Sorry Ma, Forgot to Take Out the Trash by The Replacements. And it's an album that came out in 1981.
It's their debut.
It is their debut.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some notes in them.
What did you think of this album, Dan?
It's a punk alternative album, more punk, but
it's definitely a hardcore.
It is very. The words I used are very aggressive and gritty.
Yeah,
it's very in your face. So if you like that kind of music,
absolutely.
You know what I liked a lot, like in between song transitions, like going into another song, there would be like banter between the band.
Oh, I love
that.
I love stuff like that.
That really shows, like, you know, the rawness, I guess, to the band. And
because it wasn't like, it's not a clean album or anything. It's just like really heavy guitar stuff. It's them just screeching at each other. The banter, like you said, like the banter. It's sometimes it's actually
the banter.
Really, sometimes it's actually really funny.
And overall, very consistent album. So I think if you like early punk rock, or if just any punk rock and alternative, I definitely recommend Sorry Ma, Forgot to Take Out the Trash by The Replacements. So all in all, good album. Thanks for the recommendation, Ben.
Yeah, so what would you give it out of 5?
Out of 5?
Oh, are we doing this?
Okay.
Doing,
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I'd give it a 4.
Give it a 4? Okay.
4.
I gave it a 4.5 when I first
I gave it a 4.5 too. I think other than probably Let It Be, which is their magnum opus, like that's a 5 out of 5 album.
By the way, it just shows a lot of balls to name an album Let It Be, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah,
and they're all sitting on the roof just like
but I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I really like this. It's probably, like I said, it's probably my favorite of theirs, other than Let It Be. I think it is a very rough and gritty kind of album. It definitely will appeal to, you know, the punk crowd that's more into, you know, old school style, you know, balls to the wall, playing in a basement or a garage style punk music. But Paul Westerberg's songwriting and his pop sensibilities still come through on this song. This is a more like pop structure type of songwriting ordeal than, like, say, the early albums by Black Flag or something like that, or Bad Brains or something. Those are more just like assaults, you know, yelling, screaming, end. You know, this is more verse, chorus, bridge, chorus type songwriting going on here.
Like a minute or two long. I think the longest one is like 3.5 minutes. Like that's the longest song on there.
Yeah, and I think his songwriting shows through already on this first album.
Absolutely.
Like, is very strong, with a big personality to it that even goes beyond the, you know, the aesthetic qualities of the music to like the sense of humor in the lyrics, especially on that track Customer.
Is like, I got a Twinkie.
That song, actually, speaking of Black Flag, that song reminds me of the song TV Party off of the classic Damaged album a lot. That sense of humor, that weird punk satire type of song.
Gotta love Henry Rollins.
I hate music off of that one.
Yeah.
Just making fun of everything.
Yeah.
That are like more cigarettes.
Yeah, but all in all, pretty good album. I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
So, yeah, thanks for the recommendation, Ben.
Well,
On to you.
well
Yeah,
done.
I think that was a strong recommendation, and it's an album we all like, so you can chalk that up to that. Like I said, everyone was recommended 2 albums, one from each of the co-hosts. So we'll be coming back to Dan for his recommendation from me later on in the show, but we're doing this as a sort of round room style thing, so we don't have too much of anyone talking at the same time. We're moving along to Ben with his recommendation from me.
From you? Oh, from you first. Oh, okay. Alright, so I got recommended the album. Is it just YS or is it?
It's pronounced East.
Okay. I got the album Yeast by Joanna Newsom. Am I saying that right?
Joanna Newsom.
Okay. Who is married to Andy Samberg at the moment. And okay, so this album, let me get my notes up, but this album was really something special. I thought this was like a very thought-provoking, very beautiful, very orchestral kind of sound to it, and a lot of these songs have like this crazy deep meaning to every single one, and you really have to you can't be distracted by anything else. When I was listening to this, I wasn't distracted. I just sat down and listened to it, and I just listened to the lyricism of Joanna and everything, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. She's been playing the harp for like since she was like a kid.
Oh yeah, she's a great genius on that instrument.
Oh my god, yeah. And you could definitely hear it in like immediately the first song on Emily, and it just gets better and better and better throughout the whole album. But yeah, and I just love how every song tells some kind of story, and it has like that kind of medieval kind of storytelling, like Monkey and Bear. That's about Ursa Major.
I'd say that's the most medieval in content. The other ones, they have a bit of a folktale sort of sound to them, but they're more like personal stories from her life.
Right.
That one is the one that's sort of like a fable.
Because like something like Emily, it's like sitting by the I think it was like sitting by the river and everything, and trying to talk about bravery to you and everything.
I think that song's
really
about
something like really personal.
I think that song's about her and her sister.
Yeah, her sister and I believe her father as well. Just like always looking up to them and stuff like that. But the one song that really got me, it's the longest one on there. It's Only Skin. That's, to me, hands down the most perfect song on the album. And I just love, like, it kind of gave off, like, kind of a melancholy feel to me. Because what I got out of it was that there's all these people trying to, like, fall in love with her, but they somehow leave her all of a sudden just for, like, no reason at all. And everyone's trying to fall in love with her, but she can't find the right one. And it just left me with kind of this very melancholy feel to it. But besides that, I also found like all the instrumental stuff in the background very beautiful. I found it like absolutely fantastic, both the harp stuff and the orchestral pieces in there. I thought it was quite beautiful most of the time. I will say that I felt like Cosmia didn't really need to be on there. I felt like if it ended with Only Skin, that would have been like absolutely perfect by me. But even with Cosme on there, Cosme is really good. I really liked it. I enjoyed the song, but I just felt like if she just ended it with Only Skin, like the longest one on there, I thought that would have been just a perfect ending. But with Cosme on there, it's still great and everything. The whole album's absolutely fantastic. But I just felt like it was just it could have just ended with Only Skin. That's like my one complaint. I just think that it could have just ended there.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I mean, I'd say probably Emily and Cosme are my two favorite tracks. The bookending tracks are my two favorites. I think despite the fact that Cause Me is the shortest, I think it's really one of the most emotional and one of the most,
Yeah.
accessible tracks on this album.
Oh, definitely.
It has...
It's more accessible than like Sawdust and Diamonds or something like that.
Yeah, I think those tracks in the middle are a bit more extravagant, a bit more harder to grapple and get your head around.
There's a really deep meaning to it, and that's like one of the other reasons I love it, because this one is like a definite repeat listening to like really try to figure out what you want to get out of this album. There's a lot of meaning to it and everything in every song that I feel like the next time I listen to it, I'm gonna find some kind of different meaning to something like Cosmia or Monkey Bear, something like that. I feel like I'm gonna find new meaning in it. But yeah, I thought the album was fantastic. I love the harp. I love Joanna's voice. I love the orchestral stuff. I loved all the deep meanings that she had in it, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Big words coming from Ben. That was
Yeah,
I go to college. I go to college now. You know I'm doing stand up too. So
me. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 as well. I'm right on the money with you there.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
The thing I'm really surprised about your opinion about this, Ben, is that most people, when they start talking about Joanna Newsom, or when they first hear Joanna Newsom, the first thing they immediately go to is her voice.
Yeah, her voice.
And you didn't mention it like at all.
Well, I thought her voice was. I thought her voice was like really interesting. It's like I haven't heard like this kind of voice, at least because she's so new and everything. Not like totally new, but she's recent. Let's go with that. I
So a
thought
very
her
unique voice?
Yeah, it's a unique voice.
Yeah,
It's definitely ranging.
I mean,
One of the
it's
other
very
things
love it or hate it. A lot
Yeah.
of people like they can't stand it. They immediately say she can't sing. She doesn't know what she's doing. She sounds like Lisa Simpson.
I really.
Oh, yeah.
No, I really enjoyed her voice. Oftentimes I felt like she came off just too strong in some of the songs. Like she'll kind of just like, I wouldn't say like yell the lyric real quick, but like she'll just come off a bit too strong to me, and it would kind of come off as a whine, I want to say.
Yeah.
But like there like, I want to say 90% of the time I really enjoyed her voice, and like that other 10% she just came off just a bit too strong, a bit too whiny. That's all.
Well, that's great to hear.
But I really enjoyed her voice, so I'm looking forward to listening to the other stuff that she's put out.
Yeah, I'd say, and in terms of her, she has 3 albums out now, and they're all really different. Her first one is shorter songs, more folk, like classic style folk based. You have the harp going, which is unique, but more indie folk type of accessible. That's the album that put her on the map. This one, East, is very fantastical, very lush, very evocative. I mean, her voice is always evocative, but the arrangements on this
it's a very surreal feel to it at times.
And her most recent album, Have One on Me, is a different beast entirely. A long album. She plays piano on some tracks on that one. There's more jazz type of things going on. More of a singer-songwriter type of vibe on that one.
Wow, yeah.
But influences from both of the other 2 albums as well.
Yeah, she's definitely got quite a bit of long songs on that third one. But yeah, I could definitely listen to more of her. I could tell you that much.
Yeah, I think that the newest one might be in fact my favorite.
Oh,
but
wow.
I like all 3.
Yeah.
But so that was my recommendation to you. And because this is something you've never heard, Dan, based on what we've said, does this sound like an album you'd be interested in?
Oh, absolutely. I think all of us are very receptive to listening to different styles of music and different artists. So yeah, I'll definitely have to check her out.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely put away some time. It's only like an hour long, but still, just like, it's one of those things that you can't be distracted by something else, like watching Parks and Recreation for you or something like that. Don't listen to that and watch Parks.
No, I got you.
That would be one of the strangest experiences.
I know. I would at least be watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah.
Because Andy Samberg.
Hill Street Blues would go perfect with Joanna Newsom.
But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, you might actually like it. Who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I knew when I was recommending
I
it,
hate it, so
it's a bit of a risk recommending something like that, because it's like you don't know if they're going to be receptive to it or not.
Right.
You can't really tell. Like,
yeah.
I honestly didn't know whether when you started talking you were going to be like, this was awful, or love it. You know, so I'm glad you liked it, but you know, it's sort of a risk, and I can imagine if you didn't dig her voice, if you found it, you know, lofty and pretentious, you know, sitting through the whole thing might be a bit of a chore, but I'm glad you liked it, and I agree. I think it's great too.
Definitely.
We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be back. All right, we're back. Where did we go?
No!
I'm not telling, it's a secret. Anyway, welcome back to In Groove. We're almost halfway through our little recommendation game thing going on here. I'm up now actually with the recommendation I got from our co-host Dan.
Yeah.
He recommended me F You, Don't Take It Personal. This is now the name of the album. The album is F You, Don't Take It Personal by Schnickens, which is they're an American hip hop group. This album was recorded in New York. Came out in 1992.
Yeah.
Okay, this album. Okay, I'm gonna say this. The main MC, his name is Chip Fu, or that's his rapper name.
Yeah.
They're all something Fu.
Yes.
Okay, like him rapping is so impressive in one level, but like sometimes I just want to tell him to shut up. It's like, like, because one, it's not very versatile. He has like one way of rapping, a very impressive way, but it's like one way. His like flow is very like one note, very like. And it kind of wears on you, especially when you're like so hard, like straining to hear what he's even saying. And then he starts rapping backwards, and I'm like, this is just a joke. I'm like, what are you saying? You're rapping backwards now. It's like, on one level, I am like really impressed by someone who can rap that fast for that extended period of time, for like a whole like minute-long verse at like tempo, and it's just like, wow, brother's got some mad like
Flow.
chops.
What do you mean he raps backwards?
He raps backwards. Like, not like they took a rap and then reversed it. He raps words backwards.
Yeah.
Like he's like,
So
but it's at that tempo, so it's like, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're saying when you're actually saying words at that tempo. Now I really don't know what you're saying.
So like instead of saying cat, he'd say tack.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And he'll do it for like 2 lines, and then he'll be like, yeah, I was talking backwards, you don't know what I'm saying. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're saying. So the other 2 guys, it's a bit easier on the ears for extended periods of time. You know, they're not great rappers, but they're competent rappers, and I can groove to what they're saying. So. But I'll say, like, the lyrical content throughout the whole album, it's very one note. It's like, we're Schnickens, F you, don't take it personal, we're the best rappers, we got the impressive style.
I'm a true Schnick.
I'm a true Schnick, don't be fucking with the Schnicks. And then Chip Fu is like very eager to tell you about his Jamaican roots, and he'll tell you about them extensively. I'll say, I think the best verse on the album was actually laid down by Phife Dawg on a guest feature.
Lash Move, right?
On Lash Move.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my favorite verse.
Well, they were discovered by Tribe. And I believe Tribe...
and they did some of the production.
I believe
on this album.
Q-Tip did some production, yeah.
Yeah, but the production,
I love the beats on this album.
It's okay. They're a lot of them are very monotonous. It's very just like mid-tempo, and I don't know, they seemed a bit like Tribe outtakes, like stuff that Tip had laying around, and I think they're all at sort of one tempo because that's like the perfect sweet spot for Chip Fu to rap. Yeah. Like if it was any faster, he would be like, I can rap fast, but not that fast. And if it was any slower, he wouldn't be able to rap that fast. So it wouldn't be like, it's like, I think they're all like around that certain BPM to incorporate his flow.
Yeah.
you know, you have songs like Heavenly Father, which is a little like, it's like a mishmash between like R&B, pop rap, and like the boom bop beat, but then it has like that rapid fire rapping that seems like a little out of place. When the chorus, when the hook of the song comes around, it seems like the whole song is slowing down, and like then the rapping comes in. It's like, come back here, like you're like abandoning what you had going on. It seems a little like juxtaposition. You know, it's not like hard to listen to, but you know, it's not totally satisfying for me. But I'll say, Props, I think, is in the latter half of the album. I think that's probably my favorite song on this one. It has much more varied production to it. It has some breaks for, you know, punchlines. Music drops out, and you have Jamaica this, Schnickens that, and they're like, yeah, man, that's great. You know, it has a funky guitar to kick it off. That's great. It has some horns. It actually has a hook and a chorus where, you know, the backbeat is changing to incorporate the chorus, which is not always present on the other tracks. You know, you have this trombone feature going on in the back during the chorus, something really groovy. I really was digging, and I really like that song. It's maybe a little long because it's like six minutes, but it's really awesome. I'd say it's a change of pace from the rest of the album in terms of the instrumentals. It sort of sounds unique among the others, which are more just straightforward, slightly jazzed influenced, boom bop, mid tempo beats. I mean,
so you liked it all right?
I liked it okay. I can understand why this album isn't like revered like those Tribe Called Quest albums or like Freestyle Fellowship or any of the De La Soul or the stuff going on at that time in the sort of alternative rap world. You know, it's an interesting rarity, something to check out, especially if you're a Tribe fan. You'll probably dig some of the beats. But I mean, the content of the lyricism wasn't really doing it for me. You know, lots of cliches going on, like, you know, he raps really fast, so he references supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm like, that I saw stuff like that coming, and it didn't like take me by surprise. It was sort of like, you know, standard fare for that style of rap. You know, he's making references to do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. He's putting that in his rap. It's like, you know, you know, he's so impressive on a technical level. If he like varied it up,
I know what you're saying.
Had some different flows going on and incorporated some more, you know, maybe like a storytelling track. There's no real like storytelling song on this album. There's no like Used to Love Her on this album. There's no, you know, one of those great storytelling tracks that you
juicy,
you know, you like from those early rap albums. It's kind of just everyone is the braggadocious track.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd say they probably work better as a singles band. If I heard one song from them, like in a mix, I'd be like, yeah, I can dig this.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like Clash Move and like True Schnick. I think those are like the high points of the album.
Yeah, but I think just listening to all 10 or 11 tracks in a row, it wore on me a little bit because of like the, you know, sort of one note quality of it. But at the end of the day, it was impressive, the rapping, and the other two guys, you know, they're pretty good too, and they're a bit easier on the ears. Maybe if they had a bit more like interplay between them during the verses, it would have kept things more interesting because, you know, you have call and response stuff, but it's always the hook. During the verses, it's more just, you know, one guy spitting. And none of them really, like, totally captivated me as rappers, as storytellers. So, but I enjoyed the album. It was an interesting listen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd give it out of 5. I'd give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, I wasn't blown away, but, you know, I wasn't bored by it.
Yeah.
It was, you know,
it's okay. Fair.
One to give a listen to if you're interested in that kind of music.
Yeah.
It is an album I'd suggest to someone to get them into that style. I'd say,
yeah.
If you haven't heard early boom bop jazz rap, you know, listen to a Tribe album, listen to, you know, De La Soul, listen to, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But if you're a fan of that and you haven't heard this, I bet you'd like it.
Yeah. It's definitely something to check out.
Sounds like something I'd probably enjoy too, so.
Yeah.
Always wanted to try the Schnicks, so we'll see what happens.
Schnickens.
I know it's the Schnickens, I just want to say Schnicks.
Yeah.
But, just out of curiosity, what would you probably give this LP out of 5? Because we've been doing that.
You know, I would agree with you. 3.5 out of 5. I just, you know, I agree with you. They're definitely more of a singles band. But, you know, like we said in the beginning, try to expose each other to different albums, different artists. All of that jazz.
Oh,
Yeah.
that Jack.
But we're moving along, and
Yep.
we're into our second round of recommendations. We're going to Dan with the album that I recommended to him.
Okay, so Jarrod recommended an album that came out last year, so it's, I think, probably the most recent album. I don't know when the...
No, actually, the Savoy Brown came out
Yeah,
Oh,
this year,
2014.
so that's the most
Oh,
recent.
okay.
But
It's by a rap group called, or it's a duo, I believe,
it's a duo. Yeah.
called Run the Jewels. And that's the name of the album, Run the Jewels. It was a little too overproduced for my liking. The samples, and it was very a little hard to digest for me a little bit at first. The MCs I thought were pretty good. You know, I liked the track with Big Boy on it from
Yeah,
Outkast.
Banana
Banana
Clipper.
Clipper.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Yeah, overall, it was okay. You know, I would probably maybe if I heard it again, get used to it. But I don't know. Sometimes there are certain albums that you grow to like, and the first time you hear it, you're like, I don't know how I feel about it. But all in all, yeah, it was okay. So, Run the Jewels. What were the MC's names? It was
It's LP,
Yeah.
classic alternative hip hop producer and MC, famous for his work with Cannibal Ox on the Cold Vein, Company Flow, that he was one of the MCs and the producer for. Done work with Aesop. He's done his own solo albums. This guy is like a giant in the alternative rock world, alternative rap world.
Yeah.
And the other MC is Killer Mike, who LP has been working with frequently recently. He did a lot of the production on Killer Mike's last solo joint, RAP Music, and this is finally them doing like a duo album.
and
together.
Prince Paul is on the track as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So-
Twin Hype Back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
doing like a sort of like schmaltzy satire type of spoken word interlude where he talks about, oh, relax, baby. Are you feeling good, or was that the Molly I dropped in your drink? Like, it's like a very like comical, dark sort of,
Yeah.
appearance from him.
Yeah. But, I mean, who knows? You guys might like it. So, yeah, Run the Jewels by Run the Jewels.
Yeah, I really like this LP a lot. I heard this when it came out, and I've been listening to it since. I've listened to it quite a few times this last week, both because it was on my mind to recommend to you and, to talk about it on the show. I mean, what I'll say is the first times I heard LP rap, I wasn't crazy about him. I've always given it up to him on the production. I've always loved his production. This album, in terms of his production, in terms of the beats, it's I don't want to say it's like out of character for him, because it does sound like a lot of his stuff, like, but we have more emphasis on the tight 808s, the drum beats. It's got more of a modern hardcore hip hop type of vibe to it than some of his more alternative stuff. Less sample heavy. You have a lot more samples on the stuff he was doing 10 years ago. That was like very rich with old samples from soul music and jazz and old rap. This is more straight up new synthesizers, 808s, and just like hard party and trap influenced, with a little bit of party and trap influence beats. And I think the dynamic between these two guys is great. They both sort of adapt their style to the other to find this middle ground that's like perfect dose of both of them. Killer Mike, he's done features on Outkast, and that's where he was first really brought to people's attention. But recently he's been more known as a solo act. LP doing production work on RAP Music, which is a big album from the year before last. I want to say 2012. This, I think, is even stronger than that, because you have the dynamic between the two of them, and LP is toning down his rap style that's usually more abstract, more, highbrow. This is a bit more, party influenced, or, just like braggadocious sort of rapping from him. But yeah, I think the strong suit of the album, I love the production, great hooks on this, and songs like Sea Legs and the title track. But I think is the dynamic that the two of them have, LP rapping and referring to Killer Mike as Michael. It's like, it seems like a simple thing, but when he refers to him as like, me and my boy Michael, it's like, it's stuff like that elevates this. And there's so many good like one-liners on this, and so many good rhymes and like interesting rhymes. I like the I'm blanking on what track it is, but there's a track where Killer Mike talks about, you know, having sex with this girl that he's going to have sex with for the first time, and she gives him a hallucinogenic mushroom to take, and he says, I've never done that either. I'm going to try that for the first time. I'm going to try you for the first time. We're going to take them in a double pack. I'm going to try both for the first. It's like, and the way he tells this kind of crazy, like, drug and sex story is, like, very clever. And, I don't know, I really dig this album. I listen to it a lot. It's short. I think it's, like, 32 minutes, but it's really punchy, and, like, every track is, like, right on the money.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably give it another chance. I don't know.
It looks like
it was a little hard to digest the first time here.
It looks like there's a new one coming out.
Yeah, there should be a new one coming out.
I'm
very excited for that.
So,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, this is just like what I want my modern hip hop to be, like from a more mainstream sort of hip hop aesthetic. Just like punchy, hard hitting, like no fucking skits, no like stupid interludes and crap, and also is to note that the title of this project from them and the whole concept is sort of like a parody or a takeoff or like an attack on the Kanye Jay-Z project Watch the Throne. It's like, how more overt can you be? Like fuck you, we'll do it better.
Yeah. Like
your album was like over an hour long and had a bunch of filler. Like, we'll do 32 fucking tight minutes, and we're at the top of our game. Both, you know, Jay-Z's out of his prime, and Kanye's never been one of the best rappers around.
No.
You know, we'll do it the way it should be done. This is like a true duo album, and I think for that it really works. I think it's great.
But Kanye's a genius.
Oh yeah,
he's a genius.
Well, I mean, that's debatable. I mean, people would say that, other people wouldn't. You know, like
he also loves the paparazzi.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
You know, Kanye's had his moments.
Yeah, definitely. College Dropout's a really good album.
But
yeah. So yeah, Run the Jewels by Run the
Jewels. Are we doing our out of 5 thing on this?
Sure.
I'll give him the 2.5 for now.
2.5.
You know, I'm definitely gonna listen to it again.
I'm split on this one because I can't decide whether I want 4.5 or 5. I'm going for a 4.5 right now, but
very different. You know, different.
You know, if I keep listening to it, it might jump up to that 5 point. This is like one of the best albums from last year, I think. In a year where, for me, hip hop dominated. I mean, there were great albums from last year in hip hop. There was Aesop Rock and Kimya Dawson's The Uncluded album, Hokey Fright. There was Danny Brown's new album, Old, which I think is some of his best work yet. Deltron 3030 returned. Childish Gambino with his best work yet, Because the Internet. This one, I mean, and there were even more too, I can't think of off the top of my head. But a great year for hip hop, and even then, this was one of the standouts for me. So, one of the ones I'll remember. But yeah, so can move it along now.
So Ben,
if you want, Ben is going to his next recommendation, which was from Dan.
This one is from Dan. This is The King, Wild Frontier by Adam and the Ants. All right, this is like a new wave kind of band. They got like the glam rock look going for them, especially Adam Ant, and they kind of a post punk to them too. I thought it was a pretty good album. There are a couple songs I could do with that. I thought it was an eclectic sound, but sometimes it just got to the point where, like, the weird transitions from like a good pop song, and all of a sudden, like, the next song has like really heavy guitar going, and then Adam Ant's kind of like yelling into the mic and everything. I just found those weird transitions from song to song. It was just, sometimes it was a bit too much. From Los Rancheros to Ant's Invasion, like, those songs were all really different, and it was just like, for me, it was just an odd transition from one song to the next. By themselves, they're good songs. It's just that together,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
It just sounds odd to me, but there's there's quite a bit good stuff in here. I really like Adam Ant's voice.
Me too.
It honestly sounds pretty cool, and I'm digging his image and stuff like that. And
any songs stand out?
The two that stand out for me, Don't Be Square, Be There, and
Yeah.
Jolly Roger right next to each other. I think those are just like
Yeah.
really silly and entertaining. I like those.
I like Dog Eat Dog, the opening track, a lot.
Yeah, I like that. I really enjoyed Killer in the Home's alright. For some reason, I really enjoyed that. And the title track itself,
Yep.
Kings of the Wild Frontier. I really enjoyed
Ant
that.
Music. I like that song too.
Ant Music, yeah, and Ant's Invasion, that was good too. But like another weird transition was like from Jolly Roger, which was like a really silly song about pirates, off into like Physical. And it was just, Physical was really like heavy on the guitars and the synthesizers, and I was just like, all right, that was just odd because I just got done laughing at Jolly Roger because it's silly and funny, and then all of a sudden it goes into Physical, and I'm just like, all right, that's fine. But
Drums are a big thing with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't they have like two? I
They have two drummers.
Yes, I thought it was interesting. Again, it was just some of the tracks. It was just like you could definitely hear both of them, but at one point you ask yourself, do you really need two drummers? Like it came to a point where I thought like the percussion just was like just too heavily relied on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes it interesting, though.
It definitely is interesting, but like
I'll say like extended percussion setups, like when you have two, kits, or one of my favorites is Big Pig, who you might know from the song that is in the opening credits of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I Can't Break Away, that song.
Yeah.
They are an Australian pop rock band that almost everyone in the band plays drums. There's like, and they have like melodic drums, like drum pads, and like it's got a really like driving sort of sound to it, but like the vocals are like straight up like 80s pop type stuff, and it's like really good songwriting, and they really utilize the drums well. The other one I think of two drummers is this is totally different, but the John Coltrane album Meditations, where he has Rashid Ali playing drums in one of the channels, and then on the other channel Elvin Jones playing drums, and you have like that worked because that's a really raucous, crazy, free jazz album where you have a lot of sounds battling at once, and you also have Coltrane in one channel and Pharoah Sanders in the other, going back and forth with the saxes. And so sometimes dual percussion or extended percussion setups work. Other times, it might seem like
it's a good experiment, but like I felt like here just I don't know. Sometimes it fit, other times it didn't. But besides that, I thought for the most part it was pretty consistent. I liked a good amount of the songs, even if they had like a weird flow to them. I enjoyed most of the songs. Overall, I thought it was a good album. There's a good new wave one, and it definitely made me want to listen to a couple more stuff from them and everything. So it was definitely a good way to get into them. So a rating for me, I'd probably give a 3.5 out of 5.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So it was definitely quite. What
about you, Dan?
It was entertaining.
I would give it like a 3.5 or a 4. I agree with Ben. I really like Adamant's voice, very distinct voice.
Yeah.
And I think they write great pop songs and just overall great band. One of the best new wave bands out of that time, in my book.
well, is that all it for Adamant right now?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about Adamant? I know you.
I mean, I've heard a few songs. I've never honestly listened to a whole album.
Yeah.
I've never felt that urge, like, oh, I really want to explore the category of Adam and the Ants, But I wouldn't be opposed to giving one of their LPs a spin.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah,
But,
big band, especially in the early 80s. So.
Yeah. But the last album is another one that was recommended to me. This one from Ben. Interesting recommendation because it's a band that originally I recommended to Ben to check out. It's like, dude, Ben, you like blues and rock, and you like blues rock, you got to check out Savoy Brown.
Oh yeah.
And Ben and I are really big fans of this band. And I was sort of hyping up the release of this album, Going to the Delta. It came out in February, I think.
Yeah.
I was sort of hyping it up. I remember I sent you like the album cover when it got released. I was like
the simple guitar with like the quick shades in the background.
yeah, I was like, Savoy's back, or they never left. But when it came out, I went down to the record store to get it, and they didn't have it. and I could never find it anywhere. And I knew it was on Spotify, but like, I don't know, I just never listened to it. So Ben kept telling me to listen to it, and I didn't because I'm an asshole. And he finally, when this whole idea was proposed, he forced me to listen to it.
Yeah.
So
Damn right.
now I have heard the latest Savoy Brown album, Go Into the Delta, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, first things first. On Savoy Brown's last album, Voodoo Moon, which is one of the best of their career,
Yep.
it's right up there. It's a step below like Blue Matter and Hellbound Train, which are like my favorites, but it's right in the next category with Street Corner Talking and Looking In. It's as good as those albums, not as classic, but it's just as good. And when they were promoting that album, before that album came out and after that album came out, I saw them 3 times around that period. Some of the best concerts I've ever been to, some of the most impressive live shows. And at that point, they were a quartet. Drum, bass, Kim Simmons playing guitar, and Joe Whiting singing and playing sax. I will say, Joe Whiting's gone. I don't know what happened to him, whether he left or whether Kim Simmons wanted to sing more really bad and kicked him out, or told him, like, I don't need you anymore because I'm singing now. Because on Voodoo Moon, there is, I think, there might be 2. There's at least one song that Kim Simmons does lead vocals on. And, when I saw him live, he'd sing a song or 2. But Joe Whiting had a really powerful voice and a really interesting voice. And he'd also play sax, on songs like Street Corner Talking when they did them live. And he played sax on a few songs on Voodoo Moon. And he was a good sax player. I loved his vocals. And, the band at that point was so tight. And, I loved seeing them every time. It was almost like, nothing could stop them. Like, in terms of blues rock, it was, like, the best you could ever hope for.
Yeah.
Now, Joe Whiting's gone, and they're a trio. Kim Simmons is singing all the songs on this album. His voice doesn't... It's not Joe Whiting. It's no Joe Whiting. I mean...
No, I'll agree to that, but I like the ruggedness from him.
Well, yeah, what I'll say, though, is this album is, like, right from the album cover, you can tell this is going to be, like, stripped down. It's, like...
Yeah, it's a simple...
That album cover couldn't have taken more than 15 minutes to make. They took a picture and they put it in like Photoshop and put like plain old text overlaid on it. That was sort of the appeal of that cover, and why I was sort of hyped for this is like, oh, is this going to be like the guitar album? Is he just going to like jam? And I was sort of almost hoping and expecting for that because I knew Joe Whiting was gone. I thought, oh, this is going to be like, they're going to sing the head once and then it's going to be like 5 minutes of him jamming, and then they'll sing the head and leave, But that wasn't what this was, and I mean, I guess my expectations were a little high because they're like one of my favorite bands, and their last LP was so good. But I was a little disappointed in it. I mean, I liked it, but the best moments of this are Kim Simmons playing guitar,
absolutely,
and when the band really gets in a groove with him. I mean. Like, there's an instrumental groove at the end of the track, nothing like the blues. That's, really driving, exciting. You have the drums and the bass really playing off Simmons's solo really well.
Even though it's just a trio instead of the quartet and everything, they still work, like, absolutely great together.
Yeah, because you have the same, other than minus the sax, which you would have heard sometimes, this is the same setup instrumentally. And they're still as tight as ever. I mean... But I just found the material on this album not as good as their last one or their classic stuff. The songs were very, very basic blues songs. It was like, I got the blues, I'm singing the blues. I got the blues, I'm singing the blues. I got the blues, I'm singing the blues. And then he plays guitar and then he sings again. It's like, it was a little too, like, routine for me at times.
Do you think maybe they just wanted to kind of go, like, back to basics just for like for right now? Maybe I don't know.
It felt like, because basic Savoy Brown, like Savoy Brown in its like infancy, their first album is all covers. It's like if they're trying to return to that, I don't know, but this was like all original material for the most part that was just like sort of in that style. It didn't have that feel of like doing old blues songs. You know, I could dig an album like that where it's like, I'm going to do all my old blues songs. You know, the in the bedroom playing the blues with my records on album.
Yeah.
You know, I think of that Gary Moore album with him sitting on the bed and the big poster of Hendrix.
Still got the blues.
Yeah. You know, that kind of album. You can do that, but this seemed like a halfway in between thing. But like right after that first album, their next stuff is not really straightforward, straight ahead blues. They might have one song that's like a cover or like a really stripped down basic song like this. But when I think of early Savoy Brown, I think of songs like Needle and Spoon, which is like really uncharacteristic sort of
Right off of Raw Sienna.
Raw Sienna, yeah, really uncharacteristic, you know, lyrics for a blues song and very like with like a swing feel to it. This is like different stuff, and songs off of Looking In, or a song like Street Corner Talkin', which is like got like a almost a jazz funk kind of groove to it. And they just Savoy Brown for me always like brought the blues to different things. It was like bringing it to rock. They could bring it to like southern rock, bring it to country, bring it to jazz, bring it to, you know, even hard rock at times.
Yeah.
This album to me was just like stripping away what made them really interesting.
They just kind of just really kept it strictly blues, and they didn't want to go into like something like a hard rock feel or like a jazz, like you say. They just kept it blues. That's
yeah,
really
and I mean, there's a certain amount of respect I have for that, and I'll say, like, you could have made this album better. You would have slimmed it down a bit. It's a bit long. It's an hour long, and there's just a few too many songs that seem similar. You know, cut out 3 or 4, and then the ones you have, you know, stretch them out a bit more. Get some more jamming going on. Get some more, you know, interplay. Get a drum solo in there just to break things up. Get, you know, more guitar solo in, because, you know, there's a track on here, Cobra, that's an instrumental, and that's one of the best songs on, really, if not the best song on here. You know, it's just straight up guitar, bass, drums, guitar solo song. And if all the songs were like that, you know, I might have been more into this. But this album, I don't know, it couldn't quite make up its mind whether it just wanted to be, you know, Kim Simmons showing off his guitar. He talked a lot about the guitar tone he was going for this album, trying to make something that sounded old but fresh. He's using like a guitar that's not usually used for blues. You know, I don't know, he could have gone all the way and just done like, I know he has done instrumental albums before, solo albums.
If he really wanted to showcase that fresh old guitar sound to it, then the jam sessions would have come in handy.
And it's songs like Cobra that really like bring that to the forefront, and I see what he was going for.
And it just kind of leaves you wondering, like, why wasn't like Backstreet Women or like Laura Lee kind of just a jam session real quick? You know what I mean?
And I'll say if Joe Whiting was on this singing, I would probably be more lenient towards the vocal emphasis on a lot of these tracks. Yeah. But Kim Simmons, I mean, his voice is serviceable and good, but he doesn't really elevate the material. He kind of just does it service, and then it's like, I just kind of want to get him to get to the guitar part. I just want to kind of get to the jam. I want to get to the groove, to the funk, to the hard-hitting drums, to the tightness of the instrumental interplay. I don't really want to hear them going through the motions on another blues head that just sounds like the last song. It gets a bit much when, you know, every song you is just kind of the same thing, and then you get to hear the guitar. It's kind of like tries my patience a little, especially when the album is 60 minutes long.
Right.
So what I'll say is I more or less I liked everything on here.
Yeah.
But as a whole, as an album,
you wanted more. You know what I mean?
I either wanted more or less.
Yeah.
You know, it's
well, not like you don't want it longer, but like you just kind of
I wanted more from the material,
guitar,
and I wanted less material, because you know, when you write this many songs all in the same mold, it's just inevitable that you're going to get some repetition to the songs. And when there's like 12 of them or something,
13 or
12 or 13 songs. It was like, I think Voodoo Moon had 9, and it was like, I don't know, that album was sort of like the baseline for me on this, because it just came out like a few years ago, and this is their follow-up, and this one just didn't live up to that expectation I had for it. So I'll say this was a disappointment, but it wasn't a bad listen. This was a good listen. It was fun to listen to. It probably isn't one I'd return to a lot, because I really can't see myself getting much else out of it than just enjoying the guitar work. But like I said, that guitar work is fabulous. The band is still tight.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just what it could have been. Because, you know, when you have a great band, and you find them just sort of treading water or repeating themselves. It
leaves you wanting more.
Leaves you wanting more, exactly. And because they showed with Voodoo Moon that they could do, a modern album with new tunes that like is as good and as fresh and exciting and as impressive as their classic material, that raised the stakes. So I'd give this a soft 3.5 out of 5. I might have seemed a bit harsh on it, but it was good and I liked it. And Kim Simmons is still like top dog for me, one of the best. And I liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
because I just really enjoyed just a straightforward blues album like that. I just thought it was just really enjoyable, and yeah, it is a bit too long, and I was waiting for the jams, but I honestly thought what was there I really enjoyed listening to.
Yeah,
I haven't gone back to it like a lot. I've listened to it probably like 2 or 3 other times, but I really do like a good amount of the stuff that is on there. So I was really enjoyed by it, entertained, I should say.
Yeah, since I've heard it the other day, I've had the presence of blue matter hanging over my head. So, it's saying, "Listen to me again.
Yeah,
you love this record. Put this on again. You're gonna enjoy it again."
Exactly.
Because that album is just monumentally good.
It's absolutely great.
I mean, Louisiana Blues might be the best thing they've ever recorded. Because I don't know, but what do you guys think of these albums? For you listening, I mean, I think it was interesting that some of the stuff we talked about, sort of we found reoccurring. We don't want an album to overstay its welcome. That came up a few times, and we want an album that sounds not like we're getting the same track over and over again, which we had some problems with on some albums. But at the same time, like with the example of the Adam and the Ants album,
it was a collective,
sometimes
it was just,
the tracks don't blend together. So you have to find a nice balance between.
They were nice experiments, but it came to the point where like, okay, this is just a bit too ranging for me, if that makes any sense. It goes from like a cool pop new wave to and then all of a sudden kind of like a really punk rock feel to it. I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting that for the next song, but okay.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is maybe like the perfect album, it keeps things interesting from track to track, but it doesn't seem like a compilation. It doesn't seem like tracks that weren't meant to be put together.
Yeah.
You have to find the sweet spot between those two things.
Yeah.
You can't bore them with the same thing over and over again, but you can't like give them whiplash. Unless, there's albums that are designed to like give you whiplash, but you have to call attention to it by the very essence of it,
Yeah.
An album, I think, has to, state what it means to be and sort of like have like a worldview to it. Like an album has to be like an opinion, like a statement. And if the statement like hits you over the head, it's like gets monotonous. But if you can't figure out what the album wants to be or where it's trying to go, it gets a little frustrating too.
Right.
So those are probably some topics you'll hear come up again because they were discussed multiple times from all of us on this show. But what did you guys think of these albums?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was very interesting to hear everyone's opinions on all of the albums. It's always exciting to check out new stuff, and
absolutely,
I'm looking forward to doing this more.
Yeah, we'll be around for round 2 of this sort of recommendation game.
Like next week.
Probably within the next week or so.
So, other than that, we want to pay quick tribute to
one of our favorite bands. All three of us love this band, the Ramones.
Yeah.
The original drummer.
Yes,
in the last remaining Ramone.
Now
original Ramone.
Well, was Tommy or Marky in the band longer? I think Marky actually was in the band longer.
Yes, but
Tommy was the original.
Tommy was on the first album.
Yeah.
First, I think 2.
Yeah,
I think he was on that and Rocket to
Rocket.
Russia, and then I think Marky joined after that. But it's a shame, because they're a great band, and it's weird because like 3 members died within like a year and a half.
Yeah, they all died around like 2002 to 2004.
Yeah. Marky,
Yeah,
Dee Dee, and I
and
mean,
Tom-
not
Tommy
Marky.
was-
Marky's
Tommy
still
was-
around.
Joey, Johnny, and Dee Dee.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy was only like 62, and the others were like in their 50s, I think.
Yeah.
He had bile duct cancer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think so. I think they all, unfortunately, have died of cancer.
Disease.
I think Dee Dee was a drug overdose, but
Sad stuff.
it's still sad. You know?
I found out this morning. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then it makes me want to listen to Rocket Russia real quick.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we felt the need to say that. You
Yeah.
know,
Take-
another legend up in heaven, in the big jam session in the sky.
Must
I know that's a corny metaphor, but
must be
I've
really
heard-
loud up there.
Yeah, it is very loud up there. But yeah,
But that's the end of our show for today. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on the YouTube.
Instagram.
We don't have
I
an
do
Instagram.
not have it.
We're gonna join Instagram, so you can follow us on Instagram.
Check out all the
God.
links in the description below. I hope the description's still below if YouTube didn't change its fucking setup again. And if you have a question, we'd love to answer it.
Yeah.
Or if you have a complaint, we'd love to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
Contact us at ingroovepodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's ingroovepodcast@gmail.com in case you're too incompetent to scrub the time code bar back a little bit and hear it again. That's ingroovepodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode.
Dan Griffin signing off.
And I'm Jarrod White, and we will see you all for the next episode. Happy listening.